desire for AI sovereignty. Debt markets are being flooded with AI. Alphabet raising their equity offering to $85 billion. Are you concerned that there's a crowding out happening in this market? Can we handle that amount that's coming?
All great technology changes produce bubbles. And the reason they produce bubbles is because nobody can get it exactly right. Okay, you have to either spend a ton of money to capture your market share and so on, or, and don't worry about whether it's too much or not. Or you don't spend enough money and you lose your market share. And it's very imprecise with a lot of competition, okay? And then when people bet on the technology, which I'll bet on the technology, but they think that buying the stocks is betting on the technologies, which is
we own Amazon. Actually, I think you're either directly or indirectly you're invested in AI, or it's a threat. So you have to understand it. How do I think about AI in a business model context?
Yeah, business model quality, yeah.
Look, when you're a concentrated investor or an investor generally, and you're a long-term investor, the most important and most challenging thing to do is determine what's the risk of disruption. What's the risk of two women from Stanford in a garage, coming up with something? That risk, I think, has gone up dramatically. This is the greatest era in history to build a business, right? There's unlimited access to compute, certainly for a startup, unlimited access to capital, and a lot of incredible talent, which means that the probability of your being disrupted has gone up enormously. So the hardest thing you have to do as an investor is understand, and that's really where we spend most of our time.
What's your tendency in a moment like this then? Do you swing towards the chaos, or do you reposition to things that are maybe more durable and defensible from AI, where the disruptive
what tends to happen is really high quality things get left behind. And the same thing really happened. I was there in 2000. In that sort of bubble. This is different. I'm not saying this is, but there's some analogies, and the analogies are people got excited about internet stocks, and Berkshire Hathaway traded at the lowest valuation I think it ever traded at in its history. As people said, okay, that's all old stuff. I think a similar thing is happening today, in a sense, to Amazon and Meta, Microsoft.
Those are the ones that
these are old-fashioned companies in kind of this, the OpenAI.
So they're undervalued in your mind.
Yes.
What else is undervalued?
What about the SaaS apocalypse? So is it oversold at this point?
Again, I think it's a careful analysis. I worry more about a Salesforce than I do about your kind of. I think you got to do the work. I think it's one company at a time. But I think if you're a software company.
The odds of you becoming a $100 billion company, not much better, 8% to 13%. But how interesting that if you're a centacorn, 100 billion or more, the odds, and by the way, we're putting in public and private companies, you now have a 31% chance of having had a 10x. This kind of flies, in my opinion, in different than maybe we would have expected. And if we look at how quickly these companies are creating value, this is a chart that I kind of added at the last minute because the data is so fresh, but you can scaling incredibly quickly from 500 billion to $1 trillion. We had other companies take a long time to succeed. And this is a company called Cerebras that just went IPO, so I thought it'd be a good candidate. I was very proud to be a board member for a long time and led the Series B. But if you look at the company's funding history, you can see where I put the little construction icon.
Long-time listener, first-time caller. Quite exciting to get to hang out with all the bros here. Hello.
We weren't sure how to start this off, but I thought the best thing was to allow our erstwhile crypto czar to maybe save comments.
I saw an article today, I think it might have been in the Wall Street Journal, that the perception is that there's an advantage to IPOing earlier if you're an AI company. So now we know SpaceX is going, and then the question is when are OpenAI and Anthropic going to go? And I'm curious, how do you think about that? Do you think there is a little bit of a race on, or you haven't made a decision about that yet?
Like, in the end, an IPO, I say this to the team all the time, it's a milestone. It is not a destination. Do
But now it looks like, hold on, there's a huge deficit of supply. Can you just unpack all of that and explain both the spectrum of where we are and then those specific economics and if that's changed?
So first of all, yes, compute is a very scarce resource at the moment. I mean, what we see in our business, we're going up that kind of vertical wall of demand right now, and there's just not enough tokens available. So I'm very grateful that I got to work alongside Greg and Sam. I think we're very prescient on this. And last year, we were definitely taking some, arrows in the back about why are they out there buying all this compute? And I think, thank God we did, because in 26 we still won't have enough compute.